Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and here's today's comic, Die, Die, Die. And I can't get that song out of my head anytime I see this book or read it, and it's fantastic. I can't put my finger on what I love about this book. It is just fun. It's really gory, it's really violent, but it's like cartoonishly so. Let's get into the book here. Each issue starts off kind of interestingly. I'm really kind of looking for. I'm going to go back and read these because the first book I didn't really understand what was going on. It made it really hard to follow. But now that I kind of understand these characters better and who these people are, I think when I read what's going on in the first issue, it'll make more sense. So here we have in the first frame. Connie Lipschitz was once told, "You'll live many lives in your lifetime." She didn't realize, in her case at least, how literal that statement would prove to be. Looking back, there are times in her life she doesn't even recognize herself. Sad times, best forgotten, happy times that she can't remember no matter how hard she tries. In order to grow as a person, you need to learn from your mistakes. And Connie has untold lessons that have turned her into a brilliant, resourceful person she is. And she couldn't be more ashamed of herself. Her self-hatred eventually bled into disgust in the world around her. And those feelings intensified with age. So she fought tooth and nail, getting more than her hands dirty to be elected in the United States Senate. There she fights tirelessly through legislation, compromise, cooperation, blackmail, and murder to make the world a better place. Because for her, the alternative is giving up so she can. And this is where the music kicks in, but I already did that part. Last issue we left off with Paul, one of a set of triplets, who I just realized is named after the Beatles. There's Paul, George, and John. Well, the three of the Beatles. That helps me remember their names at least, knowing that. God, I can't remember who's who though. I think George is pretending to be Paul. Anyways, this is his girlfriend. He killed his brother, chopped off his own nose to pretend to be him. But his girlfriend found out, and naturally she's a badass assassin too. So we get a fight. And this two-page spread layout was a little disappointing to me. It doesn't really have any coherency. It's just random acts of violence. So I don't know. When I just got done reading things like Heroes in Crisis, where Clay Mann is so good at sequential art and everything, that when I see this, I'm just a little, it's not up to that level. So maybe I'm being too harsh. But so this fight scene goes on, and I'm not going to read you the book as much as you think I will. I thought this was funny, a little Chun-Li action here. The fight's pretty good and it's fun. There's some banter along the way, which is very comic book style. I thought this was a little silly. He gets kicked behind the sword, which was a stick in the ground, and he pulls it back as she's leaping. You can totally predict what's going to happen next. Thump. I have a hard time believing someone as badass as these two would leap into that. Even if he didn't spring it back, literally she's leaping right into where the thing was sticking up. Alright, so it knocks her out cold, and he decides he likes her. You will be mine. So he calls in, and just all this destruction. And he calls in, Martin, Riga to inform you that your presence is immediately required. You have my permission to take the jet. Presumably that's the cleaner. And I thought this was interesting. We have one of the main characters walking by, and he comes across this bully who's just being ridiculous. You should have stayed home while your family still has a home. And tell me he's all my parents. And then he walks up, whispers into his ear, rhubarb pie. And immediately the kid gets sick and starts retching and shitting his pants. And the other kids are making fun of him. And, he walks away all smug. And okay, interesting. There's a code word. Why that affected that kid. Well, we'll get to that. And so we have Connie Lipschitz, and Mr. Lipschitz, no relation apparently. And she's got, I guess, a mission. And God, the names, I get them all mixed up. Fake Paul is back. And they're like, oh, commenting on his nose. It looks so good. I can't believe there's not a scar, yada, yada. Pass up that. She gives him a lowdown of who they're after and what happened. Typical, oh, yeah, bad people. So they're going in to do what they do. And apparently Fake Paul might be Fake George. If I'm wrong, don't be too harsh on me. Is afraid of heights, I guess, does a skydive, which makes him like, why are you afraid to whatever? So he's leaping out. And I find this interesting, and I'm not sure if I like it or I dislike it, right? So look at the art style here. When it's full size, we see nice facial expressions and it's gritty. The smaller art, we tend to see this like cartoon look. Now, I don't know if that's just because the artist isn't skilled at drawing very small, and so that's what we see, or if that's an intentional aspect to kind of key into the tongue-in-cheek nature of the book, just to contrast with the ultra-violence and just make you realize at all times, hey, this is a cartoon. I mean, we're being ultra-violent, but we're not trying to just be sick. We're trying to have some levity, and just remember that. So they parachute in, guards are unaware, and here we get more hyper-violence. I didn't know you could throw garrots as a lasso, but apparently in comics you can. Wraps around his head, he pulls him down. As if garrots aren't bad enough, I mean, they're thin enough, that's the whole reason that you use a garrot versus a rope. It's so thin that once it tightens up, it'll literally cut through your neck. But then he gets pulled down into razor wire on top of that, and it's just, ugh. All right, so we get any day now. Sorry, am I slowing you down? Yes. And so this guy's alerted, and again, that kind of cartoony facial expression, but he's dead. So don't worry about this. The story here, it doesn't seem interesting as I'm kind of just going across the book. It is more when you read it and you follow along in the characters and their dialogue and their personalities and so forth. And as you're trying to make sense of what's going on, this issue is a particularly straightforward story. Here we see, where is it? He's asking, the layout, get us to the villa. There's twice as many guards as the intel said. They must know something's up. The villa, yeah, it's, oh shit. And then he gets attacked, kind of which saves him from having to fake his way through. And then he's going, and Lipschitz realizes, wait a second, the villa's over there. What's going on? But he gets saved again, luckily, because, he's like, yeah, but Gonzalez is over here. So we see Gonzalez with this. Obviously, this girl is not giving her consent, and he's having his way with her. Very un-PC. SJW should be all over this. This is non-consensual. I am going to raise hell. Me too. So we see the guards sitting back, letting him have his little private time, sicko villain doing what sicko villains do. And we see Fake Paul come up, stab him right through the side of the head. Nasty. Mission accomplished. Let's get out of here. Except, oops, forgot. Why can't I say that word? Forgot about the two goons. So they get in a fight. And here again, look. So this is what kind of makes me think like the art is intentional. Because this is not that small of a drawing, but that facial expression is pure cartoon. And they get in a fight. And Lipschitz, shoots the first guy right through the mouth. But he falls on top of him and he can't move. So Fake Paul is having to fight the other guy, and he's just stabbing him all over the place. And I don't know if any of you guys have played. What's that zombie game? I can't remember now. Never mind. I'm gonna skip past that because I can't remember the name of it. So he's fighting, gets off, and finally throws the body off, and he comes up behind the other guy that's fighting his partner, and he whispers rhubarb pie in Spanish, and has the same effect on him. And it's like, thanks, yeah. Sesame Street is fucking global, motherfucker. And so the whole idea is that Sesame Street has been coded with like subliminal language, so that everyone has been coded with this secret code word, essentially, that will just trigger them through watching Sesame Street, and because Sesame Street's global. And I was like, well, that's kind of funny, like in a world, like I like the concept of that, like that the children's show was used to put like trigger words into people. I think it's weird that rhubarb pie is the trigger word because that's not that uncommon. I mean, you hear it enough. I think people would be shitting themselves all over the place. I thought the word should be a little bit more unique, but whatever. So again, more antics. They're trying to get away. Fake Paul's contact shows up, and he's like, "Isn't that your contact, dipshit? Go catch up. I gotta leave a present." And of course, he's a big explosive guy. He likes to leave a big splash, and there he does. And they're getting away, and she's like, "You have done a good thing here today. That's what we do." And he's like, "That's not my partner." Of course, I mean, they work together. He was going to recognize behavior. So meanwhile, back at girlfriend's apartment, we see presumably the guy that he called. And he's outside making some contacts. He's like, "I'm not going to lie, this isn't going to go well. The girlfriend found me out immediately, blah, blah, blah." But then he's like, "I'm not going to kill her because I like her." Shut up. I like the one-sided conversations, like hearing on the, like you have to imagine what the other side is saying because you don't know. And then he's like, "I also think Nate suspects me, but that's no big deal. Him I can kill." So we got a weak link now because he's fond of her, so he won't kill her. And then who's he talking to? Oh, it's Connie's rival that we've seen, this old man, the other senator. And he's at some sick sex party, of course, because that's what they all do. And he's like, "Okay, well, that's good to hear. This partnership's going to work well, blah, 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 blah." And then they hang up, and he's like, And he makes another phone call here with a different phone. "Mission is a go. Affirmative." And we see this strike team getting all ready to do some mayhem. And presumably I was like, oh, they're going after Paul. This guy's backstabbing him. And he's sending in this team. But actually, nope. It's long lost third brother who's been hiding out in the wilderness, just living off the grid. And we see these guys coming in, and he's just like, fuck. And that's the end of that issue. And I really enjoyed it. Like I said, when I'm going over and kind of just talking about what happens, it doesn't actually seem that interesting, but it's really a fun read. And I wish I could really put my fingers on what I like about it. I think what I like about it is that I don't know what to expect. And Speaking of which, that reminds me here, there's a letters page. I love the return of the letters. This is an old classic comic trope, having a letters page and getting the readers to, write in, and they have their feelings and feedback on the comic book, and then you get to read the responses by the creators. Robert Kirkman even chimes in. You can't really see it on the camera too well, but it's like the gray writing, so he kind of interjects as well. I thought that was interesting. And in here, they talk about one of the things that I think I'm enjoying about the book is that one of the guys writes in about how the book came out of nowhere, and he walked into the store one day and it was like, hey, a new book, and he got the book and he starts reading it and he's enjoying it, but he doesn't know what's going to happen because it's not solicited in previews. It's not talked about months ahead of time. So it's just this brand new thing that you have no preconceptions of, which sounds like a minor thing, but it's so unheard of in comics these days. Most comic books we know ahead of time. I mean, almost everyone knew Batman doesn't get married before the wedding issue came out. It's like we kind of have our expectations spoiled for us all the time. And this book came out. One of the things I like about it is, I didn't know this book was even coming out until the night before, when people started talking about it on Twitter, like, whoa, what's this book that we just got in our orders? And so I decided to pick it up because I love the gimmick. And then as each issue goes forward, I still don't know what to expect because they haven't talked about where the book is going to go. There's no interviews that I've seen about, this is our idea for the book. And it's just, you have to see it yourself. You don't know what it is. And hopefully the first book or two will tell you if it's something you want to continue on with or not. And for me, it very much is. I very much enjoy this. It's not a perfect book. And I do think it's going to not be for people who are adverse to the hyper-violent aspects of it. It is over the top, but it's intentionally so. And this is not a book that's really taking itself too seriously. So while it's violent and sick, it's not overly dark or depressing. There's an entertainment value to it. There's a funness to the book. It's a very strange combination that I wouldn't expect. If someone just described it and pitched it to me, I'd be like, I don't know. But this so far is pulling it off. And it's keeping me compelled. I really want to know what happens with the next issue. So yeah, thumbs up for me. Big thumbs up. Move the needle. I recommend this series if you can find the old issues very much. And I'm going to continue buying it. I hope that there's some feedback. If anyone else is reading this and likes it, please let me know what you think. If you hate it, let me know what you think. If this is a turn off to you, let me know. That's fine. If you have reviews of yourself, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. And I'd love to chat about comics. And I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching.